Because I think a lot of people have kind of a minimalist knowledge of child support. If you've never been hit with the beast put through the meat grinder yourself, you likely just understand it to be, well, someone's gotta help pay for the kid, usually the dad, right? Because I think a lot of people have kind of a minimalist knowledge of child support. If you've never been...
Oh, you want knowledge? I'll give you knowledge. But here, watch this little clip while I prepare said knowledge.
Thank you to the chair and to all the representatives in attendance today. I am Michael Strauss. I'm a family law attorney in Lake and Cook County. I'm also vice president of A Safe Place and secretary of the Family Law Section Council of the Illinois State Bar Association, and I happen to also be the co-author of the Illinois State Bar's resolution against this bill. Currently the state of Illinois gets federal funding and grants, and individuals obviously get state aid. There's very real potential for this state to lose federal funding, and I'm talking millions, possibly hundreds of millions of dollars, as well as parents not being eligible for the state aid. This issue has not been addressed by those in favor of this law, and so potentially Illinois loses a lot of money, poor families lose more money, and our state gets less money.
What's in the best interest of the kid is not to worry about how much federal dollars we're going to get for food stamps in this country.
There's already litigation on that issue, isn't there, when there was 50-50 for parents?
There is, and I've in speaking with some of the judges in Cook County, they brought up that there's been ungodly amounts of litigation to ensure that the people kept their food stamps, because frankly, it's life or death. Without them, they have a big problem.
So let's make sure that we keep our kids out there. Let's keep the fight on so that we can continue to get food stamps. I want my people off of food stamps. Yeah. What do you mean? That's ridiculous to even bring that up.
Let's keep that down in the back, please. We want to stay on the rails.
All I know is that not more than 2 minutes ago, you asked me not to rebut a question, and yet...
I understand that. I'm trying to keep everybody to the same set of rules to the best of my ability.
Right, that's probably your very basic knowledge of it, but if you've ever seen anybody go through it, or you yourself are going through it, you know it can be a lot more complicated. Very strange, and there's a lot of false information out there.
Prince versus Massachusetts.
Now, I know
says
you
states
ain't
cannot hinder
talking to me.
obligations.
No, the United States Code is not false information. It is the official and binding collection of all general and permanent federal laws passed by the United States Congress. It is the primary legal authority for federal statutes in the United States. No, official court reports of Supreme Court rulings are not false information. They're the definitive legal binding records of the court's decisions. Lower courts, lawyers, and citizens rely on these exact texts as absolute law of the land, unless it can be rebutted by the Constitution, of course. No, the Code of Federal Regulations is not false information. It is the official and legally binding codification of all general and permanent rules published by executive departments and agencies of the federal government. Are the statutes at large false information? No, the United States statutes at large are not false information. They are the official permanent chronological record of every law passed by the United States Congress. Is the Constitution false information? No, the Constitution of the United States is not false information. It is the supreme law of the land and the foundational legal document for the entire United States government. Is the Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition false information? No, it is not false information. It is a real historic legal dictionary published in 1951 by West Publishing Company. How about the Child Support Agency's manuals? No. Child Support Agency manuals are not false information. The conclusions that I draw from these have been put through AI, and the AI will agree with me if I put my specific argument into it. No matter what AI it is, it will instantly agree with me. Because I'm not false information.
You're being a little ignorant, to put it lightly.
And then you had to go and call me ignorant. Big mistake.
In the interest of the Price children, what says the state?
Order in the court. This is not in the best interest of children.
The state's ready, Your Honor.
Price,
And who are the children involved in this case?
Ella, Price, and Slade.
Objection, irrelevant.
What are
We
their
Hunt
ages?
versus Ledbetter.
Ella is 16 and Slade is 12.
In 2017, the two of you entered into an order.
Objection. State agencies and states and public officials that are not a part of the judicial branch, which is not within the definition of what a contractor is, which is what you are. Have a nice day.
That set child support and medical support to zero, is that right?
That's correct. Hereafter be made to establish, maintain, or enforce directly or indirectly the voluntary and involuntary service of labor of any persons as peons and liquidation of any debt or obligation, or otherwise are declared null and void.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And can you explain what has changed since that time?
Well, here's what's changed since peonage was abolished.
In that support, we were supposed to
Objection,
pay
irrelevant.
50%
Forced
of all
labor.
medical bills, both
Objection,
sides.
14th Amendment. Both
Received
parents
anything on medical
have the
bills
right
since 17.
to direct the medical care of their human offspring and to not be told how to observe that right by a state agency or you.
Okay. And how are your children covered for health insurance?
It's through my wife's works insurance.
Okay. And how much do you pay per month for the whole family's insurance?
$1,400 a month.
Bro, you are getting ripped off. Who are you paying for
And how many
medical
people are
insurance?
covered under
Oh my
the insurance
God.
policy?
5 people.
Okay. And it includes the two children involved in this case, is that right?
Okay? I think that child support should, for the most part, be for either absent fathers or fathers who simply cannot commit to a full 50-50.
You mean like me, a disabled man who has no transportation and has half of his Social Security benefits stripped of him every month to pay an obligation to the state? Wow. I didn't know you were prejudiced against disabled people then. That's what I take it. Because you think that dads are just kept away from their children willingly, like they just up and left and they're not around, right? Well, what you don't know is those courts maximize their profits by not allowing the fathers to be around. So, but what you're really trying to say is I should go to prison, right? You're trying to say I should go to prison, and you're trying to call me ignorant, and you want to open your mouth about me like all this here. So, unfortunately, I now have to come out and show you that you are wrong.
But there's certainly a reason that it exists. It was developed with the child's best interest and the best intention.
Wrong. That's incorrect. See, We Hunt versus Ledbetter. Title 4D was enacted to benefit the general public, not to whether the specific needs of either party, woman or mother or child or father alike. It's made for the public, not that.
In mind, because while it's certainly not the majority, we do know that deadbeats exist.
Oh, you must be referring to the Deadbeat Parents Punishment Act, a 1998 federal law that makes it a felony to willfully refuse to pay court-ordered child support across state lines. It applies only when the parent who owes child support lives in a different state than the child. Willfully failing to support past due for over a year exceeding $5,000 is a misdemeanor. Crossing state lines to avoid paying support over $5,000 or failing to pay over $10,000 is a felony. Convicted parents face fines, mandatory restitution of full unpaid amount, and up to 2 years in federal prison. So you're calling me a deadbeat then? Is that what you're saying? Because this is a bill of attainder. It labels a specific group of individuals, non-custodial parents, a criminalistic term, deadbeat, and hunts them down without a trial. Okay? It is the only federal felony for child support. It is the only criminal federal statute for child support. Statute. Yes, the Deadbeat Parents Punishment Act is exactly what is codified in the federal law under 18 United States Code 228. The statute, officially titled Failure to Pay Legal Child Support Obligations, is broken down into 3 distinct criminal categories. United States v. Schroeder was a landmark federal court case directly tied to 18 U.S.C. 228 that briefly threatened to overturn federal child support enforcement, which it actually did overturn it, and I'm going to tell you why. The case centered around Donald Schroeder, an Illinois resident who was indicted in Arizona for willfully failing over $24,000 in court-ordered child support to his ex-wife. At the time, he was charged under the Child Support Recovery Act in 1992, the predecessor to the Deadbeat Parents Punishment Act. Schroeder's defense team filed a motion to dismiss the indictment, arguing the federal government did not have the constitutional authority to criminalize it. They relied heavily on Supreme Court ruling from the same year, United States v. Lopez, which limited congressional power under the Commerce Clause. District Court victory. He won. It was declared unconstitutional. That means void ab initio because of Norton v. Shelby County, so it didn't matter that the appellate reversed that. It was superseded.
Mothers and fathers who will try to get out of every responsibility they possibly can. There are also parents who, while they're not trying to be absent from their child's life due to work or perhaps the military or whatever obligations they have, they just can't be there 50-50, and so they have to make up for their lack of presence with money. Of course, as I always say on this channel, a paycheck will never replace the presence of a parent. So it is always ideal if both parents can be meaningfully involved and financially support the child.
Oh, you mean like the 6 years that they deprived me of my parenting time with my son? You mean like those? The ones where one party was in contempt and the other party was also in contempt, but they only charged the one because they failed to pay their obligation to the state? You talking about that one? You talking about me? Thank you for being fair. I appreciate it. Hey, I don't mean anything by this, but I just have some issues with what you're saying.
By the way, go to Funding Me, getting to DC next month to do some Title 40 federal reform with Mark Ludwig and the gang, so...
I'm gonna have to stop you right there. There's no reforming Title 4D. It must be abolished and replaced. There's no reforming it. There's no amount of editing this code that is gonna make it lawful. It is set up to violate your rights and the Constitution, and there's no getting around it. You can't change it, you can't update it, you can't make it better. You can take pieces from it and utilize them in a different way with a different law and get rid of this shit. This is the only option. I'm sorry. Title 4D of the Social Security Act violates the First Amendment Free Exercise Clause, First Amendment Familial Association, sometimes the First Amendment Freedom of Speech, the First Amendment right to seek redress from your government for grievances, the Second Amendment when they convert your misdemeanor charge into a felony without your knowledge, using your signature that was relegated from you under duress, which is a crime. The Fourth Amendment, right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. The Fifth Amendment Due Process Clause. The Sixth Amendment right to trial by jury in criminal prosecution. The Seventh Amendment right to trial by jury in suits at the common law, which is applicable to everyone equally. It is in fact incorporated, and I have the Supreme Court case that says it is. They violate the Eighth Amendment, cruel and unusual punishment by depriving you of time with your human offspring in order to enforce in lieu of some obligation of finances to replace you and cause your human offspring to never learn the important lessons they're supposed to learn from both parents, which is a violation of your child's rights, which is a crime against fucking humanity, okay? Okay, moving on. Ninth Amendment, the 10th Amendment, the 11th Amendment, the 13th Amendment, involuntary servitude, the 14th Amendment, equal protection of the law, and the Privileges and Immunities Clause, and the 16th Amendment because they are not Congress and they fuck around with your taxes. They violate Article 1, Section 8, Clause 5, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 3, Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1, Article 3, Article 4, Section 1, Article 6, Clause 2, and Article 6, Clause 3, and the Declaration of Independence, and your fundamental rights. And these are all the rights that they fucking violate, all the Supreme Court cases. Here's all the United States Code, federal statutes that they're violating, all the crimes that they're committing. So, I'm gonna have to ask you to retract this statement you just made because it is in fact incorrect. But if you don't want to retract that and you want it to remain on the internet as your opinion, you are welcome to do so. I don't have any effectuation over your right to freedom of speech or any of that shit. So, procedures to ensure persons go back to fucking work, involuntary servitude. Okay. Here's all the codes I done listed off to you twice before. Obstruction and severe crimes. Look at all this. $250,000 per charge, yo. I'm not playing around with you. I am not playing around with you Title 4D people. I'm coming for you and all of this shit you're doing right here, okay? And people are gonna know because I'm done with it. I done researched you for 18 hours a day for fucking 5-6 years because I want to see my son. And what are you doing? You're letting somebody else be in contempt of court, and you're letting them be in contempt of court and not punishing them, but you punish me, and it's the same fucking court order. So can you make it make sense? Okay? You can't. And this is all the shit they're doing right here. I had an AI draw up and analyze all of this for me so that I can go through and make my own claim. So you got a problem now because I know too much and you ain't gonna tell me what I do or don't know because you be wrong. You be wrong, you be dead wrong. And here's all the stuff that you're dead wrong about. 18 U.S.C. 228 is unconstitutional. There's a Supreme Court, a more recent Supreme Court ruling under Schroeder that demonizes what the fuck you're doing. Okay? You think my syllogisms aren't complete? You come find out. You can come find out. Because I ain't got to prove nothing to nobody, bro. Okay? I appreciate you standing up for equal shared parenting and, 50-50 parenting and everything. But what you need to understand is you're on the wrong side of history, girl. You're on the wrong side of history. And so is everybody. Mark Ludwig, everybody else, you're all wrong. You're all fucking wrong, and here's why you're wrong. You see all this? You did not learn all this. You did not learn all this. So you and everybody else who wants to call me ignorant can shut your fat mouth. I'm not ignorant. You can take it out your mouth, okay? Please do so. I ain't done nothing to you to have you calling me stupid. Because you don't know me. But you probably should get to know me, because then you would know what's going on with all your constitutional rights right here that are being violated. All this yellow stuff right here. Just by taking part of their program. You don't understand. Here's the definitions. You don't understand. I could go on and on. Here's the proof of their contract. You want to see? Here's their contract. You want to see it? Here's the contract. Here, you want to see some more? Here's the Bailey versus Alabama. Here's the contractor is strictly applicable to any person who enters into a contract. So they're no longer a judge now, are they? Okay? I got all these definitions. I got stuff that you wouldn't even think of. You don't even understand. You don't understand. You are the one that does not understand. Okay? And you done said yourself. So why, if you're not an authority on the subject, why are you coming on here talk about what you don't know about? I mean, but you know about some things, so I'll give you that. But I'm just letting you know that it needs to be abolished. It's Swiss cheese. By Swiss cheese, I mean there's so many holes in it. The holes are violations of your rights or the law, and it's just chock full of them. Okay? There's no salvaging it. I'm sorry. Bill Clinton was a demon, and we all know that because he went to Jeffrey Epstein's private island how many times? Come on, wake up, folks.
And Rob Hellfire says, my child's mother was a deadbeat mom. She never paid me a dime of child support in 5 years after I won custody.
I'm sorry, that's a violation of 18 United States Code 880, receiving the proceeds of extortion. So be thankful that you didn't receive the money, because that would be a felony offense. Because that money was extorted out of someone. You're a parasite.
The fun thing about child support too, fun little fact as we just get started, is that arrears never expire. So
they expire upon death.
So if you don't pay the child support within the child's first 18 years of life, it doesn't mean you're off the hook. You will owe that money for the rest of your natural life. So your baby mama could be 80 years old, and if you haven't finished paying it off, you're still gonna be paying her.
That's incorrect. Arrears can be discharged, although not in bankruptcy.
That's one of our first starting facts that might be a little bit depressing, but it's very true. So
it's a debt that never goes away. Got it. That's not fucking debtor's prison or nothing.
Child support is not only covering lunch, extracurriculars, medical bills, school stuff, field trips, things like that. It's also covering your mortgage payment, your car payment, your car insurance. It covers all of it. If you don't believe me, ask any narcissist that pays child support. They
Bitch, you are a narcissist. Fuck you talking about?
Believe that the money they give towards the house that has the children, majority of the time, or even half the time, but at lesser income, it covers everything. So when you send a bill for this thing, they say child support covers that. When you send a bill for this thing, child support covers that. Well, 2 weeks ago you said child support covered this, and it didn't even cover the full amount. But now it covers this too, and it covers this. Yes, in their world, child support covers everything. Now, I think this is from a delusion that, number one, they don't understand how expensive kids really are.
My childhood begs to differ, dumbass.
But number two, they're fucking butthurt that they're paying child support. And I can't.
Wrong. I'm butthurt because of racketeering and crimes against humanity. Fuck out of here.
Let's definitely chit-chat about this one. First of all, it's very interesting how many women with no psychological or clinical or medical backgrounds at all have the ability to determine that their ex is a narcissist.
Ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's correct. They're actually not that prevalent at all in society. I'm just playing a part acting, by the way. But no, you're right. And it's funny how that is the go-to every single time.
It's fascinating, but I found that almost every ex-wife magically, omnipotently has the ability to diagnose their ex-husband as a narcissist. Have you guys noticed that they all develop this skill during and after the divorce to just be able to confidently give an entire clinical label to someone without any actual schooling or diploma on the matter? I've always found that amazing. But after the fact, she says that she can guarantee you, this is another guarantee that these ex-wives have. It's amazing the skills that you develop just by becoming divorced. I mean, you know, I've always thought about becoming a clinical psychologist. Maybe I should just divorce TJ and then bam, 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 I could just diagnose people with whatever the fuck I want. That would be a cool skill. So she guarantees that you will, for sure, get the email. My child support covers that. Here's the thing, though. These emails that she's getting are not just coming out of nowhere. She's not just sitting around drinking lemonade when all of a sudden she gets an email from her text saying, "Hey Sam, I just wanted to remind you, I noticed that little Jerry has been enrolled in baseball, and I just want to let you know that my child support should cover that." No. These are emails that are replies to unsolicited demands that you have no business making. Overnights, poop out a number, and that is your only legal obligation. Legal obligation. Legal obligation.
42 United States Code 1994, the holding of any person to service or labor under the system known as peonage is abolished and forever prohibited in any territory or state of the United States, and all acts, laws, resolutions, orders, regulations, or usages of any territory or state which have heretofore established, maintained, or enforced, or by virtue of which any attempt shall hereafter be made to establish, maintain, or enforce directly or indirectly the voluntary or involuntary service of labor of any persons as peons in liquidation of any debt or obligation or otherwise are declared null and void.
To give to the other party, right? Because when dad takes them to an amusement park or decides to get a new Netflix subscription or decides that he's going to enroll them in mixed martial arts during his time, you do not have any legal obligation to supplement his financial choices. Just as he does not have any legal obligation to continue adding on after that. Why? Because a judge has no interest in calculating.
You see, that's where you would be wrong. That's not a judge. Expressio unius est exclusio alterius. A principle in statutory construction, when one or more things of a class are expressly mentioned, others of the same class are excluded. Judge, a public officer appointed to preside and to administer the law in a court of justice. The chief member of a court charged with the control of proceedings and the declaration of questions of law or discretion. Todd versus United States. Contractor. This term is strictly applicable to any person who enters into a contract. Wehunt versus Ledbetter. Title 4D is much in the nature of a contract. It is contractual, which means that is a contractor, not a judge. It is excluded from the definition of a judge because the term is strictly applicable to any person who enters into a contract, but is commonly reserved to designate one who for a fixed price undertakes to procure the performance of works on a large scale or the furnishing of goods in large quantities, whether or not for the public or company or individual.
Getting itemized receipts at the end of every single month or at the end of every single quarter or fiscal year. They've made their determination in court. And if you have a good lawyer, you can come in and say, well, you know,
a lawyer will not help you in Title 4D child support hearings or outside of them in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Why? Because the Bar Association is the one that okayed their little pet project to begin with. So they ain't gonna help you. They're gonna fleece you of money. Unless you somehow find a unicorn of a lawyer. That's only happened a couple times.
Here is text or email correspondence that said that we mutually agreed that we would cover half of all agreed upon curriculars. In that case, a judge might add that to the child support parenting plan. But
I hate repeating myself.
Court, you can try to ask for extras.
You're not entitled to any of it. You're not entitled to any of it.
It might be not. The idea that you are entitled extras outside of your child support, especially because your ex is a narcissist, false.
I agree. Wrong.
This is such bad advice. Super spoof, thank you for the 5, says, why not have the state cover children's needs?
It already does. That's why you're paying the child support back.
Parents. So this is where Title 4D comes in, actually.
It is not possible to reform it.
To work on some reforms in DC is the Title 4D statute of the Social Security Act was designed to kind of cover this, because what they were noticing is that the state was covering a bit too much of the child's needs, whereas a lot of dads and a lot of deadbeat moms were just kind of like skirting their responsibilities and dipping out, and they were seeing this big increase of single mothers applying for...
You literally just admitted to what I've been saying and conceded your argument. Child support is not for children. It's not.
Family court, blackmail, extortion, bribery, color of law, deprivation of rights, abuse of authority, perjury, conspiracy, duress, threatened abuse of legal process, mail fraud, kidnapping, embezzlement,
Outer limit violations, involuntary servitude for Title 4D of the Social Security Act.
Inlumen violations.
Inlumen violations, involuntary servitude for Title 4D of the Social Security Act.
Inlumen violations.
Inlumen violations, involuntary servitude for Title 4D of the Social Security Act.
Involuntary servitude.
Kidnapping, embezzlement, and false imprisonment, peonage, and slavery. I don't mean to get technical or maybe merely when I flex, but Title 4D you better expect and respect the next level challenge, accept that they get better presented, unexpected, lymphatic from a T-Rex up in a receptacle. When I send them a tentacle, it'll be incredible when I get to the pinnacle and pick apart a public official for playing pinnacle, but they're gonna be upon a pedestal. I'll figure minuscule with the medicinal in his pyramid, only here for the metaphysical and so division with these habitual criminals within the judicial rituals. I'll send them a sentence from another dimension and send them each from every issue when they send them to Venice, or maybe even Memphis with an emphasis on serving them like a game of tennis. When I leave them in remembrance, in essence I am a menace. I leave them seeking repentance, or I hit them with the bit of the pestilence. when an apprehend and suspend them for the
I'm Mr. Obsidian. Prepare yourself for the Man of Black.